Hi, I'm Brak. Yes, Brak the War Boss. And yes, the Warhammer Community website. Here we go. Well, they promised some more of Zodgrod Wortsnagga. They said they were going to do it, and they have. So it tells us a little bit more about Zodgrod and some rules. So let's go and have a look. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. All right. Let's get into it. Believe it or not, this runtherd was exiled for being nice to Grot. Alright, so let's try and do this orc voice some justice.
Mork alive! What's that smell? It's that Zogan runtherd back again with his stupid super grots. I told him last time that I don't want him giving any of my runts funny ideas. Find them Yumis and get them to shoo them away. His smell always sticks around, and you boys and them funny you docs are sick of replacing you.
Okay. Welcome back to Here We Go, a regular feature looking at the greatest things coming soon to the 41st millennium. Last time we caught sight of what passes for a doctor amongst the beast snaggers, and this week we're sticking with the science theme by checking in with the only orc who has ever heard of behavioural psychology. Well, there you go. And there he is, all in his glory. He's a nice looking model, but we want to find out a bit more about him, don't we? So let's go and do some more reading. Zodgrod Wortsnagga has always had some funny ideas, but by far his most outlandish is that the humble, downtrodden Grot could be trained and enhanced into a productive member of orc society. Scandalous stuff, eh? It's definitely a strange theory, one which he is mercilessly derided by his fellow greenskins. But perhaps the strangest of all is that he's right. Well, who would have thunk it? And have covered the lore of Zodgrod in a previous video, and if you'd like to watch that, well then, ding, there's a thing. Through a combination of shiny objects, enticing fungal treats, and a few vials of Painboy's special brew, Zodgrod succeeded in creating a new breed of super runt, possessed of greater strength, intelligence, and frankly, alarming levels of problem-solving abilities. Sounds like my uni days. But anyway, and there's a nice little picture. There's some models there, and you've got some Gretchin and Zodgrod sort of urging them on. And here's these little super runts, and they're coming up against some Space Marines, and I reckon they'll beat them too. And here we are, super runts. At the start of the first battle round, select one Gretchin core unit from your army to be Zodgrod's super runts. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to that attack hits rolls. This unit can shoot while performing an action without that action failing. Alright, so there's two little things here. And the main one is add 1 to the attack hit rolls. So we're talking, it's going to turn a ballistic skill, what's the ballistic skill? 4. So hitting on 3s, that'd be nice. And it actually makes them a little bit smackier too. So a a weapon skill, which is a little horrible little 5-up weapon skill, is now turned into a 4+. So what's that? That's their guard. Their weapons are still not, well, assuming that they still have the same grot blasters and they've got a strength of 2, but still, yeah, they're hitting better. So that's not a bad thing. And if they still have surprisingly larger numbers, then that's going to be good too. Or alarmingly, yeah, you know what I mean. But what the rule that I really like is here is that the unit can shoot while performing an action without that action failing. So you can have a unit of grots who can go around and perform actions and still use their weapons at the same time. That's a pretty big deal. And you get 20 of them, so could be a reasonably cheap troop choice. Or even if you want 10, they're still doing not bad. They can sort of stay back, hold an objective, and perform actions. That's, I like that. I really like that. Unfortunately, his fellow snakebites were not so open to the new ideas and continued to use Zodgrod's special Gretchin as footstools, snacks, target practice, and whatever else their fancy took. Tut. This came to a head when his tribe's big mech started firing the super runts through his shock attack gun, ostensibly to get his eye in. And the irascible runtherd snapped. I've never ever heard that word before. Could go on about saying it's a made-up word, but all words are made up, aren't they? The nearby orks were highly impressed how Zodgrod had managed to crunch the mech down small enough to be launched through his own gun. That is impressive. But not impressed enough to save him from exile along with his surviving grots. Surprisingly, this turned out to be the best thing for the runtherd, as now he embraces the freebooting lifestyle and sells the services of his powered-up grots to the highest bidder. Let me go back to the super runts because I just thought of something. Now, in a previous video, I made some predictions, and I was hoping, it was a bit of a wish list really, that we may see some more super type runts or powered up Gretchin as a new kit, but it looks like that no, this isn't going to be a thing. You just select a core Gretchin unit. So one of these, just these little guys will become super runts because if Zodgrod's on the field. Zodgrod, is on the field. So that prediction's gone. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. And here's some closer shots of what we can. We've seen this. It's from the same angle. Unfortunately, doesn't seem to be any new angles of this model, or this model shown at a different angle to give us a little bit more look. So just a close up. So we've got the gun with a little needle, and he's got his saw leg, and his hair, or the hair squigs, and this claw thing. To grab Zabba. Range. Oh, that's headset's melee. And type is melee. Surprising surprise. Surprise. Alright, the strength is +2, AP -3, and damage 2. So that's good at taking out Space Marines, isn't it? And yeah, so not bad. Not bad weapon. I'm assuming he'd be strength 5, being a character. If I'm sort of saying that he'd be that, so yeah. So that brings up to 7. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be a strength 4. I think he's going to be a bit tougher than that, Riley, old guy. But we don't know. We haven't seen that stat line just yet. Can't sneeze at -3, so that brings down Space Marines to rolling on a 6+, and damage 2. That's a dead Space Marine, isn't it? Hooray! And the Squig Stopper. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy monster unit that is within 6 inches of this model and roll 1d6. On a 2+, that unit is not eligible to fight in this phase until after all eligible units from your army have done so. That might come in handy. But it is against a monster unit and not infantry units, or say vehicles too. But so situational, fairly situational. It depends on what you come up with. What you come up against. Sorry. So yeah, look, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. It's a very situational rule, as I've said before, but it looks like when the situation comes, it'd be a good rule to have. So yeah. Perhaps the first thing you notice about Zodgrod is his wild crop of hair. You might be thinking that orcs don't usually have hair, and you'd be right, as it's actually just stapled onto his head. Just in case the thing with the Gretchin didn't convince you of how out there this runtherd is. It's also a great callback to his original appearance all the way back in 1994, where he had a wild mohawk of epic proportions. Where were you in 1994? I'd moved to Brisbane, but you don't really know that, do you? Okay, I think they're doing a bit of retconning there. They've talked about hair and not hair squigs. I hope that means that we're not going to have hair squigs anymore. I really like that part of the law. Please, GW, rectify that right now. And there he is, his old model. You've heard what I've said. You know my thoughts on what I think about this model and the other model. I've talked about that elsewhere. The teeth gained from selling his surprisingly effective services have also helped him pick up a custom-built grabber stick, affectionately known the Grab Zapper, which is just the thing for smacking a wild-eyed grot back into line when they start having a few too many bright ideas. Does that mean there's going to be more rules around this weapon that we haven't seen yet? I hope so. Well, not that weapon. That weapon. Or that weapon. Yeah. Okay. And in case you were wondering if he's the only snakebite character arriving in the new codex, he's definitely not. After all, the squig riding side of the beast snaggers just can't have a few knobs on Smasher's squigs, which we saw during Warhammer Fest Online, leading them around, can they? In case you're wondering if he's the only snakebite character arriving in the UK, after all, the squig riding side of this can't have. Ooh. Okay, so there's obviously a new character. Now, is that the Bone Boss? Or they're just the Bone Boss? Or is it After all, the squig riding side of the beast snaggers can't have a few knobs on Smash the Squigs. Or is there going to be a war boss on a beast? Like another... Is that what the chariot thing is? Oh, this is really interesting, isn't it? Okay. Well, it could either be, and if that's the case, then that's a prediction that is right. But we won't know that until about 2 weeks' time, will we? So we'll just have to hold that thought. Well, there you go. That's all they're talking about with the Zodgrod. That's all the Zodgrod news I can give you. So, right, so what have we learnt about Zodgrod today? Well, they've given us a few rules. They've gone into the lore a bit more, which is fairly similar, except they're talking about hair and not squig hair, which is a little sad. Nice pictures, super runts, so it's an added rule that you can give 1 unit, which is nice, which also means that no new Gretchin models. It's a little sad. And the grab zapper looks like an interesting weapon. It's got one special rule, which is situational, but in the right situation it could be pretty good, and they've hinted that it might have some extra abilities to control grots, so that's good. And that coming up in a couple of weeks is going to be, we're going to have a look at another HQ unit. This new release is going to have a lot more HQs, which is good. It's what the Codex needed. Okay, well, what did you think of that news? What do you think of the Zodgrod rules that they've thrown us? Do you like them? Do you dislike them? Put your comments below. Let's have a conversation. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you have, please like, subscribe, share, do all the algorithmy things. And if you haven't pressed that notification bell, please do so. It helps this channel. And what else also could help me running this channel is if you help me out financially through either Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon. The links will be below in the description. Alright, it's time to total off. So remember, if you're going crumping, you gotta bash early and bash often.